Welcome to Jennifer Parsley Wellness. I'm Jennifer Parsley. I'm up in the corner. We're having a big storm roll through Charlotte today, and I think it's impacting our internet and the video quality. So I'm not going to jump back and forth between having me on the full screen, but you can see me up in the corner here. Today, I'm sharing a free resource for y'all. I just recently put this together to give you all the tips and tricks of what I think have the two key things that have the biggest impact on getting your health on track, which is fasting and nutrition. And I'll get into the details. I'm going to go through this resource for you, but it's super easy to download. It is right near the top of the homepage, jenniferparsleywellness.com. I will put the link in the comments down below for this video. Feel free to go there and download a copy of all this information. You're going to want to have your own copy because there's tons of links and ideas and things for you to follow up on if you want to implement any of these things to get your health on track, maybe lose some weight, maybe you got some New Year's resolutions underway. But I'm calling it the Fast Track to Health Guide to Fasting and Nutrition. And when I get into the list of benefits from intermittent fasting and plant-based nutrition, and then the combination is super powerful. I'll talk about that in the next slide here. So from all my years of work, I've been doing this for about a decade now, a little bit more than a decade. Working with people, implementing these things in my own life, my family's life, I see the two biggest dietary impacts on health are fasting and plant-based diet. And it's not just what I see, it's backed up and proven by tons of science. Recent studies, intermittent fasting is getting tons of studies. And plant-based diet has been studied for decades now as well. And so I just love digging into all the nutrition research, fasting research, and then distilling it down and sharing it for y'all if you don't have time to do all the research and read the 600-page books like I do. So I say that these two tools are like rocket fuel for health and healing. Helping people achieve their health goals, healing goals, prevent and reverse disease, things like heart disease, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, even things like chronic pain, autoimmune, like getting these things on track, letting your body fast, getting the right nutrients into your body helps pretty much near any and all chronic health illness concern that one could have. These two things provide fast benefits and very profound benefits for your health. Each of these on their own is powerful. And then when you combine them together, you can start seeing results. You can start seeing the weight come off, the inflammation go down. You can see conditions start to reverse, pain go away in as little as 2 weeks. 2 weeks, y'all. That is pretty impressive. So let's go through some of this information. You are able to download this guide and read all the details, so I'm not going to just read the slides to you. You'll be able to go through all the information in more detail if you download this, but serious benefits of daily fasting. I mean, look at this list. And this is from a lot of recent research that's being done on fasting, intermittent fasting, and things up to about a 3-day water fast is all I'm talking about here. You start getting into longer term fasting, then you really should be in a supervised environment. And there are some wonderful centers for things like that. But benefits of daily fasting. And this is usually just kind of keeping when you're eating into some sort of window, and I'll get into more detail. There are more slides about this. But keeping your daily eating into some sort of window of probably anywhere from like 1 to up to 12 hours, you get a lot of these benefits. And then you just give your body a break for 12 hours up to 23 hours. And still sipping water, tea, things like that. So weight loss, preventing and reversing type 2 diabetes, improved heart health, brain health, reducing the risk of cancer. That's a huge benefit just from letting your body rest from the digestion for a bit. Preventing and reversing other diseases, autoimmune, metabolic syndrome, asthma, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, plantar fasciitis, acid reflux. Each of these are being studied. Like, does fasting help with this? If I compress the time that I'm eating and then just let my body digest and rest for a while, it's having an impact on all of these different conditions. Pretty darn cool. Healing tissue damage. So this concept of autophagy is reducing wrinkles, scars, skin tags, even things like eye floaters. The body goes in when you're fasting and giving your digestion a break, and it starts to digest these excess proteins and things going on. And basically gives your body time to take out the trash and digest the cells that have been damaged. Healing digestion, gut issues, same theory there. Helping balance the gut microbiome. That's a big topic lately. The microbiome, gut bacteria, having healthy gut bacteria. And you'll see the plant-based diet factors into that as well. Responding to stress without using food to cope. When you're fasting and you just have a solid rule, like I'm only going to eat in these 5 or 6 hours today. I'm only going to eat between noon and 5 o'clock. Then it's a lot easier for people sometimes to not use food to cope. Oh, well, I'm fasting right now, so I'm not going to use food. Maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll read a book. Maybe I'll do something else. Maybe I'll scream into a pillow. I don't know. But when you've got a fasting window and you're sticking to it, it's easier to not use food to cope. Helps with joint pain, helps with sleep. If any of y'all are women in menopause, sleep can be hard to come by, or even, tons of people have problems with insomnia. The fasting can help with that. Lengthening your lifespan, helping with the menopause symptoms, and more. Some of the big benefits that I see is, especially with a lot of fasting, if you're doing a few days a week where maybe you're only eating one meal, it reaches the point where, or you're skipping breakfast a lot. Maybe you're fasting like 6 to 8 hours and it's easy for you to skip breakfast. Well, then now you're only cooking 2 meals a day instead of 3 meals a day, or sometimes one. So I find that it helps my life get simpler, easier, less meals to buy food for, less meals to prepare, and frees up more time in my day. I don't have to stop multiple times a day, or some people are like adding in the snacks 6 times a day trying to get some food. It just frees up time for me as well. So getting started, this guide also has information for how do I get started, resources for you to use, along with showing you all the benefits of these two huge superpowers, rocket fuel things for your health and healing. In order to get started with fasting, you can start with kind of correcting the appetite. If you've been just eating whenever you want, snacking all the time, start with stopping the snacks. Eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and just give your body that time to digest in between your meals. And then when you're ready for the next step, either move your breakfast back an hour and then move it back another hour and do it gradually. Or maybe if you're like me, I never have been much of a breakfast person. It's easy for me to just make myself some tea or a coffee, skip breakfast, and then have lunch and dinner with no snacks. And as you're doing this gradually, you are increasing the amount of time your body is allowed to fast and decreasing the amount of time your body is doing a ton of work for digestion and dealing with glucose and blood sugar spikes and all those things. Tighten up that eating window until you find what is best for you. And then I'm going to show you the benefits of the amount of fasting. The super ultimate ideal for healing, depending on what sort of health condition you have going on, would be eating all of your food in a 1 to 5 hour eating window. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it every single day. I have gone through periods of time where I was doing that 1 meal a day kind of eating in maybe 1 to 3 hour window. And it wasn't good for me. I had to mix it up. It made my hunger just go too crazy. So maybe try that a few times a week, having the big benefits of eating in a 1 to 5 hour window. But I'm going to do that twice this week or something like that. That's what I've been doing lately. Mix it up. Dr. Mindy Pels, I've been sharing some of her information lately. She has great information on fasting. Her and I differ on diet quite a bit. But she has a lot of great information on the most recent science on fasting. And she recommends mixing it up throughout your week. So eating in a 6 to 12 hour window about 4 or 5 days a week, aiming for that 1 to 5 hour window 1 or 2 days a week, and then just taking a break and not having any sort of fasting regimen. Just eat whenever you want 1 day a week. I tend to do that on a Saturday or a Sunday. All right, so then if you've looked at all the benefits, you've got some ideas on how you're going to start implementing this on your life and what sort of time frame you want to be fasting, then once you're ready to begin, take a note of the time that you stop eating at the end of today or whatever day when you pull up this guide and you want to get going. For me, today is a Tuesday. And I would note, okay, the last time I had anything to eat was, say, 8 o'clock, which is pretty typical for us, 8 p.m. And then my fasting goal, if I want to fast for 12 hours to start, that means all I need to do is stop eating, don't have any snacks at night, and then go to bed, drink some water, and then at 8 o'clock tomorrow, I can have breakfast, and that's a 12-hour fast from 8 to 8. Just drink water, sleep, wake up, get a little bit more water. You can have black coffee, tea, bitter teas, herbal teas, and get on with your day and get busy. So say I wanted to fast 16 hours and eat within an 8-hour window. Today I finished eating at 8 p.m. and then I would go until 8 a.m. is 12 and I want to go 16, which is 4 more hours. So I got to go 4 more hours. That's noon. So if I went till noon tomorrow and sort of skip breakfast, just was sipping my tea, and then by noon, I can have lunch, I can have dinner, and then I had a 16-hour fast and I can eat between noon and 8. That's kind of the math that you do on this thing. So once you open your eating window, you eat and drink delicious, healthy foods until you're satisfied. If you're way too hungry, you're going to have to play with this. You're going to have to do it gradually and just do what suits you, but try to do it so that when you do have your eating window, you're just eating normal meals. You're not overstuffing yourself. And then you close your eating window and you repeat, and then you start getting all the health benefits that I showed you at the beginning of this. This is a cool little graphic that helps you decide what do you want to aim for and what sort of health benefits can I realize from this fasting. So this is the number of hours after you had your last bite of food. So 4 to 8 hours after you finished eating for the day, your blood sugar starts to drop, insulin levels drop, your insulin's kind of gone in and helped put all that sugar away, and those things are starting to go down, which is good for health. When you reach the 12-hour mark, say you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, by 8 o'clock the next morning, the food's been burned, healing processes are beginning, human growth hormone is increasing, and glucagon in your digestive system is really resting. Then you go a couple more hours. Say you go till 10 o'clock the next morning. Your human growth hormone is continuing to increase. Some people call this the fountain of youth. And fat burning begins for any of you who are trying to lose weight, trying to maybe go from obese to overweight or overweight to a normal BMI. Just stopping eating at 8 o'clock at night and shifting your breakfast back till 10 o'clock the next morning, you're going to get into fat burning mode. And then you push it a little bit further. You go until noon, you skip your breakfast, then you've got hours of fat burning going on here. You're increasing your fat burning. Another jump up in human growth hormone, fasting 18 hours. And then 18 to 20 is when that autophagy begins, the recycling of the old proteins, the helping get rid of like wrinkles and skin tags and eye floaters, those things that I talked about. That's this autophagy process. And then ketones are released. Your body is really burning the fat and it's using a different fuel for your brain, which helps with clarity, helps reduce brain fog. It's ketones are really good to be in a state where you're running on ketones. Although I do not believe in a ketogenic diet, but that's a different story. If you have any questions about that or want to, wonder why, feel free to put a question in the comments down below. And then we get into things that are beyond just fasting within one day. So say you want to do a 36-hour fast. I did that recently. I shared a little bit of video, shared on social media that I did a 36-hour fast, which means if I finished eating at 8 o'clock tonight, I basically, other people call it alternate day fasting. And it means I went the entire next day and did not eat anything until 8 o'clock that night would have been 24 hours. And then 8 o'clock the next morning is 36. So you go an entire day with just the drinking lots of water, a little bit of mineral water, coffee, tea, and then you skip a day of eating, and then you get to eat like when you wake up, 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. It's a little strange skipping an entire day of eating, but when you hit 36 hours, you get a huge increase in autophagy. And Dr. Mindy shared that that really kickstarts fat burning. If you have your body feels resistant to fat loss, weight loss, if you're hitting up against some sort of plateau, I just can't get below this number with my weight, try a 36-hour fast, 48-hour fast. Cellular regeneration, reduction in inflammation. So this is some really deep healing here. And then you get a peak in that autophagy, recycling of cells and old proteins at 72 hours. So these last three are, day and a half, 2-day, 3-day water fasting. Those are for some serious healing. And I may do some more videos on those in the future. Dr. Mindy Pelz, look her up on YouTube as well. She goes into a bit more detail, or either of her books. I'll link to some information that I shared from her earlier. So isn't that cool? There's your timeline. Like if I can just, go to sleep and not have a midnight snack, I get these benefits. And if I have breakfast at 10 instead of 8, or if I wait until noon, you're starting to get some really good health benefits. This slide is all about some resources. Oh, see, I don't even need to put the links to the other things. They are right in this guide. Go download the guide, and these links, you'll be able to click on them in the guide. You can see there's a little link popping up down below. But my favorite resources come from 3 cool, awesome women who have studied this, implemented this in their lives: Gin Stephens, Lori Lewis, Dr. Mindy Pelz. So Gin's book, Fast, Feast, Repeat, I consider kind of a Bible of fasting. It gives you everything you would need to know. Gin has an awesome website. Lori Lewis has a cool book that's kind of like a book and workbook all in one, Celebrating Your Vibrant Future. And then Dr. Mindy, who I've mentioned a couple times already here, has an awesome website with a blog and health articles and a YouTube channel if you really want to dig into more details beyond this overview. Although I know even my overviews, I'm a detail person. It's my engineering background. So this guide is giving you plenty of details already to get started. All right, moving on. Now you've kind of changed when you're going to eat. Now let's look at what you eat. And you know from this channel that I'm all about a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. I have studied with Dr. McDougall, got my certification to work with people with a plant-based diet and using a plant-based diet to prevent and reverse disease, chronic illnesses. And look at this cool list. And a lot of it's going to look familiar to you because plant-based, whole food plant-based diet and intermittent fasting give a lot of the same benefits. And then you put them together and it's this huge win-win. And it's like each of these superpowered each other. It's like, oh, I'm doing this one huge thing for my health. And if I add in this other huge thing, it's like you get an exponential kick out of it. And this is where I very much differ with Dr. Mindy and a lot of other people who just focus on the fasting and then they get into these weird low carb keto diets. And I don't ever think that stuffing yourself full of saturated fat is good for your health. And the science proves it as well, which I love digging into. So these are all based on scientific studies. Plant-based diet, easy weight management without counting calories. And that just has to do with calorie density. You're not adding in all of the fats and the meats and the saturated fats and dairy and things like that. Um, it's easier to manage your weight without counting calories if you're on a plant-based diet. Improved energy, sleep, mood. Same thing with fasting. Fasting helps with your sleep. So you get the double the benefit here. Reducing inflammation, reducing blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, all these key things of like the metabolic syndrome or things that people are getting put on meds. You can manage, you can prevent, you can reverse these things with fasting and with diet. Avoiding, reducing, or eliminating medications. This is one of the things I love to help people do is either avoid going on meds. If your doctor's kind of threatening, you're going to have to go on some diabetes meds or blood pressure med. You can avoid that. You can reduce meds if you are on them or potentially even eliminate. And you do definitely need to work with your doctor as you're adjusting medication levels. I am not a medical doctor, and that needs to be worked on if your system has been put on meds and you need to change where that's going to go. Reducing risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, preventing or slowing progression of cancer, autoimmune disease. This list is like, it's like fasting and plant-based diet were just meant to be together. Preserving your brain health. This is a cool one. They're starting to study Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. And both of these things help with that. Lowering rates of arthritis, improved liver and kidney function, and improving your gut microbiome, same as the fasting. Things like irritable bowel, Crohn's, all sorts of digestive concerns get better with plants as you're eating tons of fiber, soluble, insoluble fiber, and everything starts to even out in your system. And another cool benefit of a plant-based diet is it saves money. As I'm sure many of you have noticed over the last few years, inflation in the cost of meat. I don't know, I haven't eaten meat in over a decade, but I've heard it's gone pretty sky high. Eating this way can cut your grocery bills by $750 a year per person, and you can truly eat a healthy plant-based diet for about $7 a day, even probably $5 to $7 a day, depending on how basic you're going with your diet. And that can be a huge savings for a lot of people. I know it really cut our grocery bills in half or a third when we went plant-based. All right, a few tips on, well, all right, let's get started. What do I do? What do I need to know? Healthy plant-based diet. Starches become the centerpiece of your diet. These are what keep you satiated, keep you full. This is when people go off the rails on low carb or keto type diets is because their body's craving potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, legumes, grains, pastas, we need these for steady fuel for our body. Then you add in all of the vegetables, orange, yellow, green vegetables. These are side dish. There, you cannot survive, and you wouldn't want to survive on a plant-based diet with just eating salad and lemon wedges. That's not what it means to eat a healthy plant-based diet. You have to have the starch. Then you add in the vegetables. Fruits would be considered a side dish as well. And then you get into things like the processed foods, white rice, flours, use those a little more sparingly. Go with the whole foods wherever you can. So the brown rice, whole wheat flour, whole wheat pastas, things like that. But we eat, my husband and I, we eat regular pasta. We do use whole grain flour almost all the time. We do sometimes white rice, sometimes brown rice, because we like basmati for Indian dishes, and we love that long grain basmati white. So, mix it up, but beware when you start getting into the processed foods. And then nuts, seeds, avocados, olives, only if you are not overweight or don't have heart disease. Those are higher fat plant foods. And if you're really trying to lose fat, Dr. McDougall always says the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And so keeping an eye on that. But if you're just going for the health benefits and you're at the weight you want to be at, kind of see how much. I have some nuts and some avocados and olives. I have all of these things sparingly, but I'm not trying to reverse any disease and I'm at a normal weight. So that's just the caveat on that. All right. Other things about a healthy plant-based diet. Dried fruits, juice, honey, maple syrup, sugar, these are considered treats. So the really sweet things in a plant-based diet. If you're trim, you're healthy. Yeah, go ahead and have a bit of that. If you're trying to lose weight, if you have health problems, stay away from the high sugar containing foods. They can get you in a cycle of craving sugar, binging, they contribute to high triglycerides. So just a word of caution on the sweet, sugary foods there. Other things to do, choose familiar dishes. What are your favorite foods, your family favorites, your comfort foods? Just there are healthy plant-based versions of every single recipe you could ever imagine. There are tons of recipes on this channel. I'm constantly linking to you'll have resources in this guide about getting meal plan ideas, recipe ideas. Choose what sounds good to you. Choose what's been in your family favorites, or maybe you have certain ethnic foods that are your favorites. So comfort foods, healthy plant-based diet is great for that because you can still eat mashed potatoes and pasta and soups and stews and all wonderful things like that. Season your food well. Follow some great recipes. The tips I give you are years and years, like a decade of cooking this way. And so I've tried a lot of different resources and I'm giving you my best in this guide. And a healthy plant-based diet, you would absolutely avoid meat, poultry, fish, shellfish. The number of times I even say I'm vegetarian and someone says, well, do you eat fish, seafood? No, that's not plant-based. No animal products of any kind, no dairy, no vegetable oils because it's that hyper concentrated fat. And a lot of vegetable oils are really bad for inflammation as well. Dr. Mindy agrees on that. Processed packaged foods only if they contain kind of clean, whole plant ingredients and they don't have any of these foods to avoid. And then I get often asked about soy. Soy is very helpful in menopause, but unprocessed soy. Tofu tempeh soy milk, the kind that has only whole soybeans and water, West Soy, Trader Joe's brand, Eden Soy are the three clean versions I know. Tamari miso, soy sauce with no additives. You start getting into the processed soy, that's where all the horror stories come from about people having hormonal issues or even causing cancers and things like that. These prepackaged meat substitutes, isolated soy protein isolates, those types of things lead to disease, hormone problems. So unprocessed soy, its top group right here, are very healthy, very beneficial, cancer fighting. Yeah, go for it with the soy milk and the tofu and the tempeh and the tamari. We have those almost all the time, especially now that I'm in menopause. They're very good for my body, for women in menopause. Couple other tips for getting started on a plant-based diet. Make sure you have a well-stocked pantry. On program foods. So go back to those last couple slides, see what the keys are, the base of starch, the side dishes, the things to maybe have a little bit less of, and just stock up on a few things or choose a few recipes from this guide and then get started. And then as you choose more recipes, you'll have those ingredients on hand. Good cookware. Pressure cooker is an awesome tool. The Instant Pot that everybody's using these days, you can make a big batch of soups, stews, chilies. You can serve it over rice. You can serve them leftovers in a wrap, all sorts of awesome things. I've done entire courses on this which I can do, and I will be doing some workshops to record for y'all in the future. I'm definitely going to do that this year. But non-stick cookware, they make awesome ones. We have these green pans now. They have ceramic, non-stick, silicone bakeware, parchment paper, crock pot to slow cook stuff all day, and a good blender. A lot of people use the Ninja as a lower cost, or if you can afford a Vitamix or a Blendtec high-speed blender, you start getting into your plant-based cooking and it'll make things really creamy and delicious. And all of the nonstick things are because you're going to be cooking without oil. But like I said, I'm going to try not to go into, it's a good topic. I love to talk about my healthy plant-based cooking, but you can see me doing that on tons of other videos on this channel. This title's a little cut off because I'm up in the corner here, but this is about cutting costs. If you were to try to get 2,500 calories a day from fast food, bare minimum, it's about $15. You can go plant-based, starch-based, $5 to $7 per day. So a third to a half of the cost. You're going to cut your costs for supplements, prescription drugs, health care. You start eating this way, you add in the superpower of fasting, you're going to save money on running to the doctor, running to the pharmacy. And that's where you can see a lot of savings with this way of eating and helping your health. Productivity can increase and have a positive impact on the environment, animal welfare, all these wonderful benefits of a plant-based diet. And last couple of tips on getting started. Work with your doctor on this. As I said, especially if you're on medications or want to get some baseline tests, understand if you can reduce or eliminate some medications. You're going to need to be working with a doctor on that as you make these changes. These changes have such a quick, big impact on your health that your doctor is probably going to be shocked at how much weight you're going to lose and how quickly you're going to get off meds. When I do the personal one-on-one coaching with people, when they go back to their doctors and it's like, oh, I'm able to get rid of this. I was able to cut this in half. It's really cool, fun stuff. Get baseline measurements for some of these things, some basic blood tests, and then recheck these along the way. If you're really going to implement the fasting and the plant-based diet together, you are going to see changes quick. Couple of weeks, you're going to want to check back. And, the average weight loss, just with the plant-based diet portion, 10 pounds per month. Add in the fasting, kickstart your fat loss. Who knows, depending on how much you have to lose, I'm sure you'll lose more at first, but average is 10 pounds a month. So if you had 50 pounds to lose, mark your calendar. 5 months from now, you can get it off, especially adding in some fasting. It's going to be faster than that. 4 to 5 months, 50 pounds gone. Meal planning. This says meal planning behind my face up here. So examples to get started, I put a link in here to a free McDougall program that will contain step-by-step background information, guidelines, meal plans, grocery lists, recipes, all included, free program, whole program. PCRM, 21-day vegan kickstart. They have an app which has everything you need. It has videos, it has recipes, it has meal plans. So there are resources out there that have this all mapped out for you to get started. Great recipes as well. And then I've got another list of resources here for plant-based diet, like I did with the fasting. So videos that you can watch on this, documentaries, books, these are all ones that I have studied where I've pulled some of these statistics and benefits and information from websites for great free recipes, free resources, testimonials, success stories. If you want to see these Dr. McDougall success stories, people talk about, I was able to reverse type 2 diabetes. I was able to reverse obesity and MS and rheumatoid arthritis. And it's so inspiring to hear these people talk about everything they were able to do with their diet. Same thing with protective diet testimonials as well. And when you download this guide, each of these are in the guide. You just click on it and it'll take you to the website for the video or take you to Amazon to buy a book if you want to buy the book, and take you to each of these areas, just click on any of these things. They are links embedded in this guide that I've created for y'all. And then this is the last part of this free guide, is just a little more for me. Let me know how you're doing. Did you find this helpful? Were you able to implement some fasting? Were you able to move your breakfast back a little bit or skip that one meal and condense your meals into lunch and dinner? Are you able to bring in more plants and starches and cut down on the animal-based foods? Do you still need some more help? Do you want to go deeper? Do you have a serious health concern, or really want to get off some medications and you want to work with somebody? I have a lot of experience of helping people work with these things. So just let me know. I've got my email address right in here if this guide is helpful, or if you want a little more extra help. I have a signature program available now, Medication-Free Healing. 12 weeks to renewed health and vitality. So a whole 12-week program working one-on-one with me. And then social media, other videos on this channel, and posts regularly on Facebook and Instagram. So that's more from me on how to bring these two huge things in here to fast track your health. The fast track to health is using this fasting and plant-based diet. So I hope this was helpful for y'all. If you like these videos, feel free to give a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions on this guide, and I will see you soon, my friends.